PharmaPhobic is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, a company dedicated to helping you empower your health, redefine your lifestyle, and all for the health of it. You're listening to PharmaPhobic, where we challenge the state of health in America. I'm Janie, a physician assistant, and I've seen how healthcare keeps people dependent instead of truly healthy.
And I'm Dan, a veteran turned fitness pro here to uncover the truth and explore simple and sustainable health solutions. From big pharma to big food, we're exposing the conflicts of interest keeping us sick and finding better ways to take back our health.
No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk, real solutions, and a little bit of fun along the way.
Hello there, guys. Welcome to another episode of PharmaPhobic, where we help you achieve the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of yourself. We are back on with Mr. Mike Peugh for part two. So previous episode, we stopped right after he transitioned out of the military into policing, and we're going to pick it up from there.
Yeah.
So
back to you, Mike.
you, Mike. So we were talking about the fork in the road of people that want to do the job and people that don't want to do the job, or that they're counting days to retirement.
And we were talking about how, I think the military will kind of trap you. Mm-hmm. Or not the military, police, they all kind of
That sort of first responder.
Yeah.
They're dangling a pension.
A pension.
Public protector type role.
Yeah, they're dangling a pension. They're dangling all these things. But you got to remember, if you're a high level person in the military, fireman, police officer, I joke about this with a buddy of mine. He runs a roofing company on the side. But I could take 4 of my best friends on the SWAT team, and we could do whatever you want. I mean, we could start a dog grooming business and it would be successful just because those are the kind of guys that you have and those are the kind of people. So if you kind of have that mindset of getting things done, you're going to be okay.
100%.
If you start looking for the free ride guy or girl is the one that you got to watch out for, in my opinion.
So you build certain traits through military training, and you could argue that either you got that from your upbringing and then you went into the military and it just buffed it out of you.
Right.
And now you have these character traits that you bring into wherever you go. So
Correct.
If you go be a freaking underwater basket weaver after the military, you're going to put a certain level of emphasis and skill and give a crap into it that most people won't, right? And that's something when I tell people that are wayward a little bit, or people ask me oh, he doesn't know what he's going to do. Hey, military's a great option, man, because if you go in there with the right mindset, you can buff some stuff out that you can later apply to other stuff you're going to do in life.
And my question is, how did you... And maybe this was an easier transition going into the police force, but I know a lot of people, when they get out of the military, it's hard to put what you did in the military in a civilian resume or CV.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And because you may have done a bunch of things in the military, but they don't translate over. So a good example I could say is we know a special forces guy who can do surgery in the field.
He was A-18 Delta.
Okay,
right?
So he's dialed in, but he couldn't. He
cannot perform surgery as a civilian, right?
No.
But
he probably can't even be a paramedic, can he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did you find that was easier because you went into the police force? Because I feel like a lot of people get hung up like that. And maybe it's a pride thing too, because maybe they get put into a job and you're like, but you don't understand what I've done. And now this is what I'm doing.
Yes and no. And you kind of learn that the hard way. Yes. The community of it, the guys, the girls, it's the community of it. It's a very it's a similar enough mindset.
The community of the police force.
Yeah,
okay.
We went gator hunting a couple years ago, and you were like, "Oh, this reminds me of hanging out with Dan's old military buddies." Mm-hmm. Because we're all most of those guys were on the SWAT team,
which. I told Janie at some point in the night when we were there, we weren't catching anything.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's not even about catching a gator anymore.
We're just out here
guys
BSing.
Hanging out.
Making fun of each other.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, making fun of each other. And we, especially being a police officer, now I've known those guys for a long time. and they're integrated into my life, which is also super important. We can get into that later, but I had to learn that what I did, the only person it mattered to was me.
Okay.
You cannot rely on the fact that you were a veteran to get you places. Yeah, there's programs and there's things that'll get you hired, but the work you still have to do.
Yeah.
You can't expect just being like, oh, I'm a veteran. Like, yeah, like this is gonna be fine. I'm a veteran. You have to still do the work. It was a hard lesson for me to learn that nobody cared what I did in the military. Not that they didn't care, but it didn't matter because being a cop is something completely different. Yeah, you got guns. I've got a gun. You know, whatever. Like there's like similarities there, but it's like you're not a cop, so you don't know. Like you have to know the law. You're talking to people. You're dealing with like procedures, court. You know, all these other things. Like you're not doing any of that in the military.
Yeah.
Like none of that. Even if you're like some SF Army Ranger, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Like that's not. Now listen, if you come into it with the right mindset, you'll be extremely successful, just like you would in any other venture in life.
Which, parentheses, I like when you see those body cam footages of like crazy shootouts or something like that that police get into, and you see some guy handle a situation.
He just
like,
gets out, he puts his coffee down.
Yeah, and then, you know, like that guy in Washington, he gets there, pulls his rifle out from the back, and puts that
G
dude
move.
down at like 100 yards.
Yeah.
I was like, veteran.
Yeah.
And, and then it comes out like, yep, he was a veteran. Yeah.
So, you know, there's things that apply, like having to be in the Army, like especially an enlisted guy, living in the barracks with a bunch of dudes from across the country that I've like, you got some black dude from Detroit, you got some white guy that's never seen a black guy from Alabama.
And they're homies now.
Yeah, and they're best friends, right? Yeah. You got another guy from like a hippie, one of my all-time best friends. He was homeless guy. He was homeless in the Keys, but he's from California. Wild story. He's a great dude. He owns his own company now out in California, and he's doing other stuff. Great family, but like a guy like that, you know. And then he's best friends with a dude from North Carolina that's like as country could be, you know. Like that's kind of so you learn how to your people skills. You're forced to develop people skills, which is probably the biggest thing I took away from being in the military. The tactics we use, like I'm on the SWAT team now, the tactics we used, and I can't believe I'm alive. What we do on the SWAT team is far superior to.
Oh, really?
Far superior. Well, also, so you have to think about a couple things. So when you're in the military and you're in like you're like in a hot area, like the whole city could come down on you. As a police officer, like if we're gonna hit a warrant on a structure, I don't have to. I mean, you have to watch your back, but I don't have to worry about
collateral.
Like, other people.
You can just focus on taking down a room or taking down the
correct.
building.
Your problem gets way smaller, so you have way more time. But the tactics we use as SWAT team far exceed those that I used when I was in the Army, like kicking in doors and stuff. I cannot believe the things I used to do, like especially knowing what I know now. I'm like, we were so dumb. So it was so bad. And like I was a regular forces guy. I didn't do any kind of like, you know, high speed, you know, anything. So, but the biggest skill I think I learned was probably talking to people, dealing with stress. Not a lot stresses me out. Back then, my wife will get annoyed at how unstressed that I am about anything. I'm sure you have similar experiences. Because things just tend to work themselves out, you know. But those are two skills that were transferable. But I had to. So being a cop, I hit the road. You know, now of course, because I'm an idiot, I have to work midnights because that's where all the stuff happens. So now my wife is having to deal with that. So she just got me back, but now she's got to deal with me being on midnights and sleeping during the day.
So this was when you first started in the military,
police.
the police. You worked midnights.
Yeah.
Because I guess, did you know what you wanted to do in the police force?
Well, you got to do patrol.
Right. So
or
Regardless,
there's a
there's kind of a progression.
Okay.
So I'd always like, number one, all I want to do is like chase bad guys.
Okay.
Like that's all I care about. Yeah, I'm there to help the community. Like all that is great, but like I want to get bad guys. Like the worst guy that's out there is the guy that I want to. That's you the guy today. Yeah. All right. So let's go. Let's try to find that guy or whatever the case may be. But you start as patrol. But patrol is a fantastic patrol guys, especially in our agency right now. They kind of get the short end of the stick because everybody wants to get off patrol because it's kind of like it's the hours are terrible. You're in a uniform all the time. You're beholden to the radio. You know, it can be a lot. Now there are some guys that do patrol forever, and some of those guys just love patrol, and they're fantastic cops. They're great cops. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you'll have guys that'll come off and you can get into like the detective bureau. And then from there you can start branching out and doing all kinds of different things. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I became a police officer. I just knew I wanted to get in car chases.
Okay.
And like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, get after it. So, once you start kind of building your career, you kind of get funneled into different groups. And just so happened that I had some guy, he broke into a car. I was riding away on a bike, had a bunch of the victim's property, jumped a fence, got out of my car, jumped the fence, and I was fast. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to catch this guy, no problem. Turn the corner, gone. So you do what you call a perimeter. You get the dog out there, and he's actually my major now. Guy comes out, finds the guy like that with the dog. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So like when you're in academy, like all the instructors will go around and be like, hey, what do you want to do? And somebody's like, I want to be a canine handler. And then like somebody else is like, I want to be a chief or whatever. And you're like, I just want to be a cop. I don't even know. I'm not even sure yet. So I saw that and I was like, this is awesome. And that's just the way our department does it. But so I went down that path. I spent a lot of my own free time training with the canine unit. After I want to say 4 or 5 years, I made it into canine. Didn't work out well. It was probably a lot my own doing. You know, probably didn't have the best mindset going into it. Again, I think I was relying too much on being a veteran. I think I wasn't mature. I just didn't work out with the group of guys that I was with. It wasn't working out. So I didn't get kicked out because I was still on FTO, but I failed out of canine school after 2 years, which was a lot because you're not allowed to take any vacation time. You're not allowed to take because you have a dog, and the first year is like very, very important to the dog. So you have to like be there with the dog for everything. Can't let anybody do anything with the dog, especially I had an apprehension canine. So it just, like you're the sole provider for that dog.
Apprehension canine.
Yeah. So I was a single purpose canine handler. So we have single purpose dogs in our police department. So apprehensions like goes and finds bad guy. It's number one job is a locator.
Mally?
No, he was a shepherd, and he was he had his own set of problems, but good dog. And then you have a narcotics dog. His sole purpose is to find narcotics. You have bomb dogs. Sole purpose is to find bombs. A lot of agencies that are like don't have the financial backing that we do. They'll dual purpose their dogs.
Okay.
So it'll be like bite and drugs, or bite and bomb. You can't mix bomb and drugs. But what that allows us to do is like our drug dogs can sniff people because their sole purpose is just to find narcotics. The bite dogs are that's all we call them, bite dogs, but their number one thing is they're a locator.
Locate people.
And then if they refuse,
And then bite.
if they refuse to comply, then we use them to apprehend.
Yeah.
So our apprehension dogs. So that's what I wanted to do, because I mean you manage like a whole. So like anything hot comes out in the city, you're kind of running the show. Just because we use our dogs for everything. If they could write reports and drive police cars, we'd be out of a job. Because they're good. They're a phenomenal tool. So I did that for a little while. Like I said, it didn't work out. And that's where things, for me personally, started to kind of slow down. Like things started to catch up to me.
Okay.
I was like super out of shape, which was unusual for me. I was heavy. I think I was like 235. I was like deadlifting the world. I was like, bench pressing the other half of the world,
Yeah.
But that's like all I was doing. Wasn't really like taking care of myself, especially the midnight hours.
Yeah, that'll wreck
We were
you.
remodeling our house. McLean was born at this time. My youngest.
Pause on the names Maverick and McLean.
Yeah. You heard that right.
Hey kids, no pressure now. No pressure. You're Maverick and McLean.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
don't.
John
Die
McClane.
Hard.
Oh,
So he's
Yeah.
Die Hard, and
Yeah.
then Maverick,
It's
Top Gun.
Yeah. Okay.
So right on. And I can't believe Katie went for that. That was awesome. Another newborn. Still trying to figure out how to be a dad, first of all. Still trying to figure out how to be a cop. Still trying to figure out, what I'm doing. But that's around that period of time in my life is where things started to kind of like, I've been through some stuff. I've done some stuff. Things are not, first time in my life, really, things had not gone in the direction that I wanted them to.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dealing with that. Nobody wants to be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
But things happen. I mean, and honestly, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I got the opportunity to do what I'm doing now, which is awesome. Things just weren't, things weren't great. Just, they weren't. So you have to take a look at yourself and you have to really give yourself an honest look and be honest with yourself and take accountability for the things that you're doing. And, you adjust fire and, things start working out again. But that's about the time I started getting into hunting. I mean, I was always a big fisherman. I grew up fishing, grew up in the water. I love, like I said before, in the last episode, surfing and all that stuff. I grew up in the waters of South Florida. I mean, I know the water like the back of my hand off Fort Lauderdale and Pompano. It's just, that's, where I spent most of my time growing up.
Okay.
But I wanted to get into hunting, and it was just, I was one of those things where it was like, man, I really need like some time to myself. Like I really need a break. It was like the first time in my life where I was like, I need a minute. Like I need to like sit down and really like just be left alone for a minute. Which was great hunting. I mean, you got no other choice but just to sit there and sit still.
Yeah.
So, which was cool. And like I said on the last episode, I had a neighbor and he's like, why don't you just go up to my place in Virginia? He's like, I'll introduce you to guys on the mountain and I'm sure they'll let you hunt their property. And, I've developed some lifelong relationships with those guys up there. They're all a little older. Old Vietnam vet, Marine Corps Vietnam vet.
Oh, those guys are funny.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He is the man. I love that guy. He lives on top of the mountain. He hates everybody except for me and the kids.
Yeah.
So
It's so funny. Vietnam vets are funny because they got so much crap when they came back, and now that they're older, they kind of feel like they can. They can
let loose.
They can let loose.
Yeah.
So it's hilarious whenever I meet somebody from Vietnam where they're like, they're in their 70s.
Right.
Some of them are 80. And now is when they're like, you know what? I could talk about some stuff now
Right.
where they spent all these years quiet because they didn't want people to kind of poo-poo on them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. He's a great guy. We've shared some stories and he is always checking on me and the kids. I mean, they're basically family now.
That's great.
Which is cool. Which is like, you get into hunting and stuff. I don't know if you guys want to cover this, but like hunting and fishing in the outdoors, you said it before, like when we were gator hunting, it's not, I mean, yeah, we want to kill like something awesome, hanging on the wall, show everybody, eat it.
Yeah.
Because you're getting like the clean food aspect of it, the whole 9 yards. But the reality of it is like it's the total act of hunting that I think is like the important part.
I think that there's a instinctual, or it hits you on some level, especially, and I may catch steam for this, but especially for men, the whole act of hunting, the whole act of, you know, killing something to then provide for, you know, that whole process.
If you laying it out from a health pursuit standpoint, so you're outside, you're in the woods, so you're getting a forest bathing effect. Yeah, which is real. That's real. We've talked about this here. You're also sourcing clean food, right? Or cleaner food, however you want to look at it. You're spending time with other people, like in a disconnected, unplugged type of, you're not on
or you're by yourself.
Instagram, or you're by yourself. Whichever it is, there's a meditational aspect and there's a social connection aspect if you're with other people.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're challenging yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially if you're deer hunting, it's going to be cold, that sort of thing.
Yeah, all that.
Or
even these guys.
Or just, it can sometimes be physically painful to stay still for so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, like gator hunting, there was mosquitoes.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's a whole nother. Yeah. But, you know, I hunt deer. I mean, one day I'll go out and hunt elk and, you know, do all that other stuff. But, you know, it's not, to sit still and like learn all that stuff. And I'm still learning. Like
it's a skill-based hobby too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you have to make sure you can shoot. You don't want to make a bad shot. You want to kill the animal as quickly as possible.
And
then the level of awareness. So a couple things. How many, I mean, not your kids, because I think your kids have just been raised differently than like you could lump other kids generally. How many kids could sit and have no
my kids
distraction?
Couldn't sit. No, I mean, they could, no distraction, but like, it's funny because the last year we were super successful. We shot like 5 or 6 deer, which was a lot. It was almost got to be the point where we were like, I was like, hey, unless it's like a monster, we're not shooting.
Is that up in Virginia?
Yeah,
or is that, okay.
In Virginia. Okay. I was like, I don't have time. We're running out. I don't have we can't.
Yeah. I mean, you got meat for days.
Yeah, exactly.
Months.
I was like, we can't. I was like, we don't have time to like process more deer because we do it all ourselves. We clean it and do all that stuff. It's just quicker and easier for us to do it. It takes us like 45 minutes to break down a deer. And Maverick is a freaking, like, he's very good at it. He's better than I am. He's very, very good.
Man, that's a skill. I mean, we're building skill sets here.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that there's not, with hunting, there's not quick gratification.
Correct.
And a lot of,
you could go out there
like
and
with
not
TikTok
hit anything,
and everything, it's that quick hits. And I would say, I'm not saying your kids can sit still because, I mean, they come from you. You can't sit in a classroom. No. But they can see further than 5 minutes from now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was big for us, and I don't know if we really did it intentionally until people started pointing it out to us, but our kids didn't like sit in front of a screen. They didn't have tablets. I don't know if it's because we were poor and we just didn't like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you didn't buy it for
we just didn't buy it for them, but it never really dawned on me until people started pointing it out. And then it became like a thing where I was like, we're not doing that.
We're doubling down.
Yeah, we're doubling down on it now. Once they got to a certain age, they got phones, which is fine. We got to be the point.
Safety aspect to
well,
that
there
too.
is because they were staying home.
Yeah.
Like McLean's first phone was like a track phone. It was like an Obama phone. You know, the old school text, you had to like, you know, press the button a bunch of times. But we were leaving him alone. I didn't want him to be home alone without a phone. So anyway, he's got an iPhone now. He's fine. But like, you know, you could see it. And I don't know if it's just their friends that they cultivate or whatever. Their friends are all like similar kids. But you can tell the ones that maybe have had their device for like longer, like the ones that are like kids that have not grown up in front of a screen. You can tell they shake your hand,
they look
you
in
the eye. Yep. They like to talk to you. They want to talk to you, and if you talk to them, they can hold a conversation.
Yep.
Some kids will be like, and they're just they don't want to really interact with you at all.
It's very evident. And I I tell Janie this because when I work with teenage athletes or close to it, I can always tell, right? The eye contact is a thing. If you've been on a screen for a long time, holding eye contact or looking at people or having direct conversations is really hard. You're kind of used to facing away from people and, you know, talking to them over your shoulder while you're on your thing. Something that I've seen too that is super unhealthy, I think, and parents don't hate me for this, is kids hanging out, but they're on
Oh,
the
they
phone.
just sit next to each other and on the phone.
And maybe the interaction is like me showing you what I just saw on TikTok.
Right.
And I mean, it is.
So, like my boys, most of their friends, they like do stuff. Like McLean's friends, they're fishing and going bike riding and looking for like to go fish and stuff like that, which I think is super awesome. And then Maverick's friends, they're like big into surfing and they're always at each other's houses and they went on a surf camp trip over the summer. You know, they like doing, they want to go shark fishing. They want to do all these things, which is cool. And it's good to see that they've like gotten these friends and these things that we've done together, have kind of cultivated that lifestyle for them, which is cool. And I hope, once they get older, and this is something that they'll always come back to, because it's been, for me, like being in the outdoors has been a game changer for me. I mean, it just has been. I'm sure my wife I start getting like, bitchy if I'm like, I need to like, especially around this time of year, because I know like hunting season's coming up. Things are like, I'm getting like, now it's like I'm getting excited, but like, gets it like that August time frame. I'm like, I need to like go outside, but we spend a lot of time on the boat too, which is awesome. That's another, like, just being out on the water. And I don't have anything fancy. It's just it's a 2005. It's a 20-year-old boat, but it's it gets us out there and it gets us involved. I mean, that was during COVID. That was awesome. I mean, we spent as much time as we humanly could on the water. I had a friend of mine whose mom passed away, but she had a house on the water, so we were able to put the boat in the water because they closed the boat ramps, which I thought was like, I can't believe I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I cannot believe we as Americans let the government do what they did to us during those
COVID
lockdowns. I can't believe that we let that happen.
People getting arrested for surfing alone on the beach. That was not in Florida, guys. That was in California, but it is insanity.
Well, and you mentioned something that I think I knew, but maybe just forgot about, that they deployed National Guard
that was Minnesota.
To make sure
people were in the house.
In home.
People aren't
bringing that up lately when the National Guard's being deployed for other reasons.
Patrolling the streets of Minnesota with Humvees and up-armored vehicles and telling people to stay in their house. Insane.
Weird. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. So, and they don't want you to do the stuff that would actually make you healthy, which is being outdoors and that sort of thing.
Like, listen, I'm a cop with a high school diploma, so take what I have to say, whatever. Okay. But like, I was like, you don't want us to go outside. I was like, like the sun disinfects things.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be okay outside.
And you're literally telling me 2 months in that vitamin D deficiency is a comorbidity to a disease.
100%.
And I've talked about this before on here, where El Salvador put out a commercial during COVID for people to get outside, move their body to reinforce immune systems. And how many Americans would look down on El Salvador as not as a superior country to us, yet they were speaking wisdom much more than we were.
Right. I mean, I did see, like, in my neighborhood, like, especially like in the beginning of the lockdown, everybody was outside walking and running. And then we had like my own close friend, and then being a police officer too during that period of time was like wild.
Especially after Floyd.
Yeah. I mean, that we can get into all that if you want, but that was a that was brutal.
Did that resonate down here? Did it make your job harder?
We had a huge riot. It was made national news. I mean, it was downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
One of our cop cars got like destroyed. We had to go in and tear gas the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
It was they had pallets of bricks showing up. Like legitimate,
the infamous pallet of brick and no construction.
Yeah, legitimately that happened. Yep. I mean, I'm telling you, it happened.
It's funny because that happened there, Austin, Dallas.
They're throwing, for all intensive purposes, pipe bombs at us. It was mayhem. It was mayhem, and then everything after that, and then everybody. And as a police officer, you deal with all these things because we had like the ones before that. So like everybody's kind of already on edge, as far as, things like police being racist and all this other stuff. And you're like, okay, like we were already kind of primed on how to respond to it, just because we had been through like the Michael Brown, all these other ones. We had kind of already, we kind of got
already building.
at least from my perspective, I was like, all right, we kind of already know the game here. And then I would like to say that I think we have a very good relationship with our community. I think especially our hood, I think the bad guys hate us and the good guys like us, and that's the way you want it to be. And I think we have a very good relationship with our community. I think that's the benefit of having like a municipal police department, because it's part of the community, as opposed to like a sheriff's office
that they have this.
They have like
swath.
a big, and then they're not really beholden to the citizens. They're beholden to the sheriff,
which is county.
Yeah, county.
Okay.
It's a county.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why they have more cities in the jurisdiction.
Okay.
I
Right.
mean, and these counties are
Yeah.
huge too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all that, stuff was, that was big down here. We had big riots. We had all that, and people.
That affect your health anyway? Like more tension going to work?
So going back to when I failed out of canine school, you could feel like the stress. I was like heavy, carrying a lot of fat. I had shortly after that, my mom had died. Not that I had like a really good relationship with her, but my mom passed away. My stepdad, who I have a half brother with, passed away. My grandmother passed away. One of my best friends was killed by a drunk driver. All kind of like
police officer.
Yep.
Pulling somebody over.
No, he was coming home from alligator hunting.
Man.
And got creamed by a drunk driver.
Oh yeah, because the hours of alligator hunting. Like,
it's late at night.
Yeah.
So lot of stress, and I could just feel like, something wasn't right. I'd been following Power Athlete for a long time. They had, Rob Wolf on, got into Wire to Eat, and I was like, oh, this makes, cause like I was always like big, as much protein as possible. All the supplements, what do we got? No Explode, original Jack 3D, dude. I'll take both of them at the same time. Like, I was an idiot. So like, I was like, let's get Jack. Like I want to be big and strong as possible. But I didn't really have I was just bro lifting. And like back in the day, I think we take for granted now the availability of information. Because back in the day, like when I was in the Army, like
if you wanted to know, you had to dig.
You had to know.
And
you had to like
order books,
go to school. So, and I was just going off of whatever magazines I could get. And then it dawned on me at some point that I was like, all these are just supplement ads. That's all they are.
Yeah.
That's all they are. Because my cabinet's full of, all of it.
Nitro tag.
All that crap. And then the internet starts to become a little more user friendly. And then you're like, okay, what actually works? And you're like, oh, creatine actually is okay. I've been doing that forever. So, all right, check, But then like I said, I kind of started getting in. I found Power Athlete. I don't remember how. I mean, this was probably more than 10 years ago. So like they were still in California at the time. It was before they moved to Texas. So anyways, I started, podcasts started becoming a thing. Rogan had a bunch of really good, scientists and exercise stuff. So I was like starting to get like a little bit more information. I was like, wait a second, like all these protein bars I'm eating are garbage. They're full of soy. All this stuff that I'm eating, like I was, white rice was just like, and broccoli, like I was a chicken breast and broccoli guy till I will not eat chicken breast anymore. I don't like it.
I don't touch it either.
Yeah. I mean, I still do every now and then, but it's like, when I see it, I'm like, I don't want it. So I started, taking a real hard look at myself and like what I was eating and, whatever. So I started just eating food. And I lost.
How did you navigate that working midnights?
So I would bring it with me.
I feel like that's important because a lot of cops will use that. Oh, my schedule. They'll use that as the excuse.
There's a local diner that all the cops used to eat at on midnights, and it was just diner food. Even if and this is a thing that I learned because I would just go there and I'd order like a chicken breast, like let me get 2 grilled chicken breasts, and that's all I need. Even just eating that's grilled from the diner, you're like nothing was, working. Like nothing. I was like, this is. So then I went down a rabbit hole of okay, like something's like I'm counting all my macros. I'm doing everything. I'm still holding a ton of body fat. I'm like not getting. I feel like crap. Nothing's good. I was like, let me see. Like, there's got to be something else there. So. Stumbled on a research paper about like being sleep deprived because you are. I don't care if you're working midnights and you go to bed at 7 and you wake up at 3. Like you're still like the sleep is not. It's uninterrupted or it's interrupted sleep. It's terrible.
And it's against your circadian.
Yeah, 100% it is. So I started looking into how the body processes glucose and like what happens when you're sleep deprived, and lo and behold, your body like goes into survival mode. And you're like, oh, this makes 100% sense. So I switched to more of like a ketogenic diet, higher fat, high protein, almost no carbs. The only carbs that I was eating were fruit and vegetables. But I would bring my meals with me and then just eat in the car. I stopped going to the diner. I actually quit caffeine cold turkey for, I want to say like 6 or 8 months. We can even talk about that. I mean, I had an experience. I was working midnights. I want to say for whatever reason, I had to work 24 hours straight, basically. And this is common. Now, the departments all have these rules and stuff that you can't. But the reality of it is that real life happens during the day, and everything that needs to get done happens during the day. So like you're not like you're going to have to go to court. You're going to have to do all these other things. So for whatever the reason was, I was already up for like 24 hours. At the end of my shift, I had to go to court at like 10 a.m. and I got off at 7. So I was like, okay. So on my way home, crush a Red Bull, boom. I like, I'll just go to the gym. Pre-workout, go to the gym.
Gosh.
And I'm like, I'm working out. I'm like, it's kind of a shitty workout, but I'm like, you got all this crap inside your body. And I was like, I feel bad. Whatever. So I finished my workout, go to court. On the way to court, coffee or Red Bull, whatever it was. Yes. Man. I come home and I'm like, I am exhausted. I've been up for well over 24 hours. I'm exhausted.
Sounds at that point.
But I'm exhausted. I'm laying in bed and I was like, I feel like I'm vibrating right now. Yeah. I was like, this is not good. I was like, this is bad. This is bad. And I was like, I had to like walk around. I couldn't sleep. I was just like, it just wouldn't happen until like the next night. And then, whole thing. So I was like, done with caffeine. I was like, we're starting with a clean slate here. And then obviously all the sugar, even if it says it's sugar-free, it's got crap in it. It's all got crap. So I'm a coffee guy. I don't drink the Celsius. I don't do any of that stuff.
So you mean you drink a man's energy drink?
That's right.
My
adult male
energy drink.
Yeah, an adult male energy drink. Coffee.
And now let's take a quick break. Have you heard about collagen and how amazing it is for your skin, hair, nails, digestion, and joints, but have no clue which one to choose? I've been there. A few years ago, I stumbled upon Bubs Naturals, and let me tell you, I've been hooked ever since. Here's why I swear by them. Bubs Naturals keeps their quality standards sky high from the start to finish. Their collagen blends perfectly in coffee, or really any other beverage you love. Plus, they've got convenient to-go packs so you can stay on track wherever life takes you. And it doesn't stop there. They'll donate 10% of all of their proceeds to charities that support veterans. How awesome is that? Oh, and they've leveled up their electrolytes too. The mixed berry, that's my absolute favorite. It's light, refreshing, and not overly sweet. What sealed the deal for me? Their electrolytes are NSF certified, made right here in the USA, and just like their collagen, every purchase helps give back. So do your body a favor, head to bubnaturals.com and use my code JANE20 at checkout for 20% off every time you order. Tired of looking like you lost a fight with a powdered donut every time you work out? Yeah, I was too. That's why I ditched the messy chalk and switched to Chalkless. Chalkless is a new, clean, residue-free grip enhancer that goes on in seconds and lasts for hours. No clouds, no cleanup, just a rock-solid grip. Whether you're crushing it in the gym, dominating on the pickleball court, or hanging on a rock face like Spider-Man, Chalkless has your back. I even hit my 350-pound deadlift PR at SummerStrong using Chalkless. Locked in, zero slip, total confidence. Ready to level up your grip game? Head over to chalkless.com and use code JaneBrown to snag 10% off your order.
So I was off caffeine and pre-workout and everything for, I want to say like 6 to 8 months. And I was doing keto. Felt great. I had no energy issues. I felt good. Everything was fine. Decided I wanted to try out for the SWAT team. Failed because I tried back up. I tried out. I was huge. My buddy had just died. He was on the SWAT team. All my other friends were also on the SWAT team. When I first got to the job, I didn't like all the guys on the SWAT team. I was like, I don't like these guys. But then as you spend more time, guys, I was like, oh, these are all my friends are on the SWAT team. I should be on the SWAT team. My buddy was killed by a drunk driver. He was on the SWAT team. I was like, you know what? Let me do it. I'm going to do it. All my closest friends at the time were on the SWAT team. So I was like, let's do it. So I try out on a whim. Turns out you got to run. And I was like,
235, yeah, that ain't happening.
And I was like, dude, I was in the Army. I could run. It was a mile. It was a tryout. I was like, I got that. No problem. Yeah.
I did not
The
have
world was closing in around me. So, and it was on a football. Back then, the tryout's different now. Back then, it was on a football field. So you did a mile just back and forth.
Back and forth?
Yes.
Oh, that's
How
terrible.
many back and downs is
What is
that?
it, an 8 or 10? Somewhere in between there.
That's no right there. That's a big old no.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was like, I'm just going to run as fast as I can until I can't anymore. I didn't pace myself at all. My buddy, who was my partner, you guys have met him, Sean, he was like, dude, just stay with me and we'll make it. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to go for it, dude. Of course, he makes it, gets on the SWAT team. So anyways, I was like, I got to lose weight and I got to start running, which is where I got into Soflete. They have great programs for like, I know the word like tactical athlete is kind of like a weird thing.
Oh, it's buzzy right now.
Yeah, it's buzzy.
Tactical strength and conditioning.
Right, but those guys know. They know what it. And I went through SWAT school relatively unharmed. I had shoulder surgery before that. 2 weeks before SWAT tryouts, my second time, I dislocated my shoulder fighting a guy, which was bad. And I was like,
was this in DT class or
no?
Was it?
I was fighting a guy.
Oh, it's like work.
Yeah, work. I probably long story short, Katie's cousin was riding with me. He just turned 18, doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. I was working patrol. It was after K9. I was like, dude, come do a ride along. Let's go. First call out of the gate. Not first call. Early on in the evening, we get a elderly abuse call. And elderly abuse is like, you're like, this is going to be a lot of paperwork. It's going to be, we have to call people. Like this is, I was like, dude, if this turns into a long investigation, I was like, I'm not going to pawn it off on somebody. I was like, but if this turns into like a lengthy investigation, I'll let you ride with somebody else. My buddy gets there. He's Scottish. He was a Royal Marine, good dude. He gets there before me. I get there and he's up there and he's like, hey, mate. He's like, this guy, he's like a real wiry guy, dude, like very, very Scottish. And he's like, mate, I think this guy's lying about his name. And I was like, all right. I go, what name did he give you? So he gives me his name. I'll be right back. I'll go down in the car, do the name game on the computer. Nah, nothing's coming up. So I go up and talk to his mom. So this guy, what he had done is he locked his like 90-year-old mother who had a pacemaker in the back bedroom for like a week with no food or water, or minimum food or water. You could smell the apartment. It was an upstairs apartment. You could smell it from the roadway. It was disgusting.
No.
Disgusting. So this guy's a scumbag. So I go back up to tell my buddy that I don't know this guy. I can't find this guy's name. Mom's sitting there and she goes, his name is whatever. And I go, thanks, Ma. She's like, she was like, basically like, screw him.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
So I go back downstairs, boop, boop, boop. Lo and behold, got a warrant. I was like, boom. This just, number one, did a lot of things. Sped up my night. Solved a problem. Obviously, this guy, now I can take this guy, because to take this guy to jail, I'd have to like get detectives out there and interview
okay.
and all this stuff. And he's probably not getting arrested tonight because, you know, and then he's going to be on the lam.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, got him, going to jail. He must have seen the look in my eye. So as soon as I see him, as I start walking up to the apartment, he sees me, I see him, jumps off the second story.
Did he hear his mom give his name?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
He jumps off the second story.
To the ground?
To the ground.
Ooh.
And then starts running. So the particular apartments, there's like a 20-foot wall behind there. So he's not making it over there. And then to the east side was another like large wall. So I was like, he's not going out. There's only one way he can get out, but you can make it past all these apartments. Mm. So I beat feet all the way down to the end of the block. I was like, I know I beat him out here. And he comes out and now he's like cool breezing it. And it was I think it was like a Friday night. So there was a lot of people out there and it's a busy street. There's like it's a very famous place in our city. So he's standing out there. It's 8th Street and Tutu Road. They actually spray painted my name on the building before they tore it down. So I knew I made it as a cop. Nice. Long story short, he kind of comes out. He pulls his phone out. He's got no idea that I'm on the street. I think for whatever reason, I must have just blended in with the rest of the people. So I go to tackle this guy.
Are you in uniform?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I go to tackle. I was like, I got him. And I go to tackle this guy. And it was kind of one of those things where like you get really close to somebody and then like they're going to run, but you're not close. Like you're too close. It was like a weird in between. Mm-hmm. So I just grab him. And now he's like trying to fight my hands, whatever. And I just pick him up and I go to put him on the ground, but like, you know, basically like a mat return. Mm-hmm. My left shoulder, there was a 4x4 fence post behind me. My shoulder hits the fence post and it goes, book. Mm. And I was like, oh no. I didn't actually, time out. I didn't know. I had no idea what would happen. I just hit the fence post. And I was like, oh, no big deal. I'll just take him this way. Mm-hmm. So I take him this way, get on the ground, give me your hands, you know, whatever. Struggle ensues. I can't figure out why I can't grab his hand.
Your left arm.
And I was like, it's not computing with me. So like, I'm like, what the hell is going on? So eventually, like, he complies, get him in handcuffs. Whole radio's going wild, you know, because it's, you know, you're in a foot pursuit and, you know, cops are coming from everywhere. And now everybody's involved. So everybody's got a ton of questions on the radio and everybody's coming. So I grab him. A newer patrol unit just happened to pull up by me. I was like, hey, throw this guy in your car. So I just throw him in the car. I go, meet me down by my car. And I start walking and I was like, my shoulder. I was like, my shoulder really hurts right now. Yeah, I was like, it really freaking hurts right now. So I get down. I don't remember who was down there with me, but I was like, I need help taking off my vest. I was like, and EMS was already there to check out Ma. So I was like, I'm going to have one of these guys look at me real quick. So I take my vest off. I can't lift my arm. I can't do anything. And I was like, this is bad. So the fireman looks at me and goes, it's lumpy and not in a good way. And I was like, oh, man. He goes, you need to go to the hospital. I was like, all right. So
none of them, like, put it back in?
No, I don't think they, like,
Okay.
Yeah. Lethal weapon. I was hoping for something.
And I can't remember, but I think most shoulder dislocations happen
forward or front to back or down to up or whatever. Mine went back to.
Yours went a different way.
Yeah.
Not usual.
So they put it back in the hospital. And it was just through manipulation. Mm-hmm. He was like, hey, let me move this. And it went right back in. And I was like, ah. Yeah. That was brutal. So it was a super, super busy night in the city. We had like a barricade. We had all kinds of stuff going on. I had to pass the SWAT team on the way to I drove myself because it was busy. It was just a busy night. Mm-hmm. So I drive myself. I see one of my best friends, Ryan. I go, hey. He goes, you can't be here. He was on the SWAT team at the time. I go, I know. He goes, there's a guy over there. He's barricaded in his truck with a gun. I go, I know. I just dislocated my shoulder. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I can't try out for SWAT. Like, it was like the next day or the day after.
No.
And he's like, oh my God. He's like, all right, well, he was busy. Like, and I was like, I know, I'm going to the hospital. So I go to the hospital. They take care of me. So the SWAT team is the best place in the entire police department. It's the only place where you get out of it exactly what you put into it. It's one of the few groups of people. You deal with a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of BS that you got to play the game. They use this for everything. It's a lot. It's a drain on the family, the whole 9 yards. But we take care of each other, and it's whatever. So, the SWAT command was like, "Hey, SWAT school is in." I want to say it was like in February, and this was in like at the end of October. And he's like, "Do you think you can, like, because this is days later? Like, how's the shoulder? Are you gonna be able to try?" Because they wanted me to try out, and be on the team. You know, I had a good reputation. I'd like to believe, and they were like, "We really want you," and I was like, "I don't know, man." I was like, "We'll see." And they're like, it got to a point where, like, because part of the tryout is pull-ups. I was like, I can knock out pull-ups. I've always been a big pull-up guy. I can usually do, untrained. Like, if I'm slacking on pull-ups, I can get 10, no problem.
Yeah.
Before that, I was like on the soft lead program. So I was doing like 20, 25 pull-ups, no problem, easy. I was also like 40 pounds lighter. So, I was like 185 pounds. And I was like, I think if I could just get my arm up on the bar, I can knock out these pull-ups. I go, the only thing I'm really concerned about is the burpees, because when I go down on the ground, I don't want my shoulder to come back out.
Yeah.
They were like, well, if you think you can do a tryout, do the tryout. So I do the tryout. I want to get through it, pass, no problem. There's a shooting portion, there's a physical portion, and then there's like an interview questionnaire portion, and they judge you on all that. They score you. It's changed since then. So then they were like, hey, are you going to be able to make it through school? And I was like, I went from being in like the best shape I've ever been in to like being on the couch for 2.5 months now. I was like, let me go see if I can run 5 miles. So I go run 5 miles. I was like, I could do it. I was like, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
My buddy Jared took me and he's like, let's go run. So I went and run. I was like, this is bad. I was like, let me go run. So I did that. And I was like, I think I'm going to do it. I can do it. I'll make it through. Like, even if, whatever. So go through SWAT school and, no real problems with my shoulder or anything, but, kind of a testament to like the soft league guys, like their program is very good, and it keeps you injury free. That's like the big thing is they keep you injury free during those selection type, train ups and stuff. They keep you, and it's like a progressive overload, but for like, taking a beating as opposed to like lifting weights.
So there is a smart way to get ready for Suckfest.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There you go. Made it through SWAT school. Back then it was only 2 weeks. It's 3 weeks now. It could probably be a month with as much as the SWAT team takes on. But, made it through that. Shortly after I made it on the SWAT team, I ended up becoming a detective in our street crimes unit, basically handling anything from auto thefts to armed robberies, and, that kind of brings us to where we are now.
Yeah.
Through that, fitness has always been, I've been into, I don't know maybe because I was born in the 80s, watching all the 80s, 90s movies,
The dudes were jacked.
Everybody, you had to be jacked. So
Arnold, Sylvester Stallone,
and
you had to be jacked.
And I know we don't have to get into it, but you mentioned that you didn't have a great childhood, and I found, I didn't either, but I found that physical activity was a great stress relief / escape / something.
Yeah.
And I thank God that that's what I was attracted to and put my energy into instead of substances,
Yeah.
So
same. Yeah. Like my aunt and uncle got me a weight set when I was still living with my mom. and it was like a BS like 30-pound, like the concrete weight filled weights
with the plastic.
Yeah. I had that, but man, I was playing football in junior high, so like all I would do is just do like the worst form bicep curls and bench press off the floor. Yeah, I have short curl. I was probably just small range of motion, which is probably why I can't touch my shoulders now. But but like I spent a lot of time always push-ups, just working out, just because I wanted to be strong and so that's always something throughout my entire life. I've always just exercise. It's always been something that I've before it was like known. I'd be like, hey, if you're going, like when I was deployed, I made it a point after every mission, I would go straight to the gym and I'd work it out.
Yeah.
And then I would go eat and then, repeat, over and over again. I always.
That kind of plays with subconsciously, you were closing the loop on a stress cycle.
Yeah.
Because you come back from a highly stressed state and then you kind of shake it out with a workout.
Right.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
sense.
I never really even thought about that.
Especially when you did your workouts, if you were doing them with teammates, that sense of community as well is
absolutely
helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
go ahead.
I was gonna say my last deployment, we were on like a very small base, but our gym was like
the biggest
rugged.
building.
No, it was rugged. It was like it was nasty in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
wooden structure.
Yeah. It was, but awesome. Best gym I ever worked out in.
Yeah.
That was my first deployment. We worked out in a wooden building.
Yeah.
And then they had to get into the gym, you would walk through the mat room because all the Marines were into their martial arts program.
Right.
So you walk through a mat room, then there's a back door, then there's the gym over there, and that we got down and dirty there.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
And then this physical activity, the pursuit you've had it through your whole life, has then set a model for your kids as well.
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them are very active. Mav loves working out. McLean, I just started giving him a little bit of barbell stuff, nothing crazy, just introducing him to some of that stuff. He's going to be in high school next year. So, just making him hard for wrestling.
Yeah. That's right. They're both in wrestling.
How did you land on wrestling for them?
So Mav was in like third grade and they had like a talent show at school, and some kid came in a karate gi and he was like breaking boards and stuff. Now I did karate when I was growing up. I loved karate.
Kids of the 90s, we all.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is before the UFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before we knew that
back then it was kung fu, taekwondo, karate. You had to.
So So in the Army, I'd been introduced to jiu-jitsu and mixed martial art. I was a huge UFC fan. So I went through like the combatives instructor. I was for the battalion, like I was in it.
Okay.
I trained a little bit at top team for like a very short period of time when I first got out.
Jiu-jitsu.
It just wasn't working for me. It just wasn't. So I took a break. Mav had this talent show when I want to say he was like in third grade, and the kid was like breaking boards and stuff. And Katie was like, "Hey, he's really wants to do karate." And I was like, "It's not 1995." We're not taking karate. So I was like, let me start looking around for jiu-jitsu gyms. I went to a couple. All right, no, nothing crazy. Ended up with AJ at his gym, and I was like, oh, these guys are awesome. This is a great gym. Sat in on it, watched a kid's class, really liked the guy coaching. I was like, perfect. This is a good gym. Great program. Got the kids into jiu-jitsu. He's wearing the uniform, gets a belt, checks all the blocks.
Karate blocks.
Good to go. Yeah. So good to go. And Jordan, brown belt Jordan, ended up coaching. Probably one of the best kids, hands down, probably one of the best kids coaches I've ever seen. He did a good job with them. The gym moved for like the third time. Kids class kind of started falling off. COVID killed the gym, opened up went to another kids pro. I love those guys to death. Drew and Devin over at Hard Knocks. They were trying to do what they could with what they had at the time. it wasn't enough. They had us. We did a competition with the boys, and they got smoked. And I was like, we're not at this level. I was like, we'll continue train, because I love those Drew and Devin. They're great dudes, and I got behind their school. You know, they're friends of mine, so you know, obviously support those guys. Starting up their program now, which is excellent. But I was like, they need something, and I was like, what's around? So I was like, wrestling. Let's get them into wrestling. So there was a wrestling club down the street. Got them into the wrestling club, and I was like, this is what they've been missing. I was like, this is the piece of the puzzle to get them to the next level. And then you kind of get immersed, because I didn't wrestle in high school. You kind of get immersed in that like wrestling culture. And then you realize that wrestling is probably the best thing that you can do to set yourself up for life. It's hard. People that are like in my position, if you have kids, if you're doing well in life and you're providing for your kids, they're living in a safe neighborhood, they're going to a good school, they're living in a bubble, their life is not hard. Wrestling is hard.
So you
can
need
inject that
adversity
in there.
to create.
Yeah.
Even if it's artificially created, you
100%.
need something, a challenge.
There's a reason wrestling's been around for so long. Like the philosophers used to do it as part of their schooling, like, or whatever their regular routine. You know, the Greek culture, wrestling's big.
It's the only sport in the Bible.
I was going to say it's the only sport mentioned in the Bible. Yeah.
It is. So looking at it, because wrestling has a culture of it that if you know, you know. And me as an outsider, because I never wrestled either, but as somebody who works with different sports and that sort of thing, and from the military, like if you start looking at demographics in the military, especially like hard jobs like special operations, I was listening to a podcast, they were talking about how many the guys that make it through like SEAL
wrestlers.
Training, it's like 40%. It's an absurd amount of them.
And you don't even need to be
wrestlers.
like state champ. You just have to be like a
part
wrestler.
of the culture. Like you trained.
Yeah.
So it's like an absurd amount of them have wrestling backgrounds from high school and college. It's crazy.
And I think there's even something more to be said about a kid that wrestles but never reaches like the state champ level, because he's just grinding away.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, he's just grinding it out. You know, obviously everybody wants to be state champ, go, you know, do all the stuff. Like I want that for my kids as well. But it's more about setting up. I just want them to get like go after something.
They can reap all the benefits of it even if they don't achieve that.
And when you look at injecting a sports into or a physical endeavor or sports even into people's lives, this is where I get lost. You know, having conversations with parents is like, your kid's not here to play baseball or basketball because you want them to have a Division I scholarship and that's all we care about. You want them to get certain character traits and certain experiences, right? So that they can become a better adult. That should be the number one priority. I'm sure there's crazy parents out there that we're playing for the scholarship. He's 7 years old. He's going pro.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
But really it's, what does the sport bring to my kid's life? Oh, we want to show him teamwork. We want to show him respect. That's why a lot of people pick martial arts, a skill of self-defense, that sort of thing. Yeah. But wrestling is like the culture of wrestling. It's like hard work. It's
very hard.
Humility, because you can
you're getting smashed. It's just like, you know, like kids jiu-jitsu is different, but like adult jiu-jitsu, you're getting beat up.
Yes.
Like every day, you know? And I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time, just like you. And I feel like I've done nothing. I feel like I've worked really hard to be okay.
Yeah. No, and every now and then
the level of effort you have to put into being mediocre is not fair.
Yeah. And every now and then you're like, you know what? I feel pretty good about myself. And then you come back the next day and it's like,
you get smashed, dude.
Get off it. Yeah. Well, I think wrestling is, like I was saying, it's a team, but it's also individual.
Correct.
Right? So you get this dual benefit in that regard.
There's weight classes, so you have to take care of yourself.
The season's kind of split up for us into two sections. You do duels. So like each weight class, 106, 113, 120, you have a school and you're 106.
Okay.
So, and then it's a team score.
Yeah.
And then you can go to team districts, team states, or teams regionals, team states, and win as a team. But then the season starts over again, and now it's individuals.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's not just that you're wrestling for, like high school wrestling is wild because, especially if you're on a good team, because you got to wrestle for your spot now in the individual event to be the starter because they can only have one.
Right.
And now you have to win your weight class against other savages.
Your teammates.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you got to go against like other school guys that you already wrestled against throughout the season in the dual season, but now it's the individual season and you got to now work your way through that.
Yeah.
So, which is wild. I mean, I think it's awesome, but that's like another level and it's tough, man. And you see a lot of these parents that get their kids into it for the first time. And I knew what we were getting into, just through jiu-jitsu and MMA. Like I already kind of knew, like, I already knew, like, and I was like, all right, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, but, it's the best sport. And then you talk about like the athletes themselves. The kids have all played baseball, football, soccer, volleyball, basketball. They play them all, but the parents, the wrestling parents are different. They're easier to hang out with. A lot of them come from a wrestling background, a fitness background, or whatever, or a jiu-jitsu background. Like you start dealing with these dads at like the football game, and they're like, you're like, oh my God, like I can't, like we don't have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And then you're like looking at them, and you're like, you don't even take care of yourself anymore, and then let alone, whatever. And then
Which
like
is a hard spot when they're demanding of their kid.
right.
Yeah.
Excellence,
And they're going
not
to
portraying it.
they're getting every coach that they they're paying. Every weekend is dedicated to whatever they're doing, and you're like, this is crazy. And then like that's another thing is trying to balance, because you can get sucked into that world. It's easy to get sucked into that world as a parent because you're like, oh, Johnny's going here. You should bring,
keeping up with the
Yeah.
Joneses.
and
Yeah.
this is gonna really take them to the next level. But does it really? Because at some point, and just in my opinion, it's kind of like diminishing returns. I was happy to see Mav take some time for himself this summer and like go surfing and hanging out with his buddies. But it's preseason now and he's locked in. We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
I think it's going to pay off.
I think it will.
Because it's like a...
Well, you see some of the kids are, they're getting injured and stuff like that because they've been going hard all off season.
Yeah. And then just the mental...
Yeah,
I don't want them to get burned out either.
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy it because it's the most fun to watch. It blows every other sport out of the water.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Especially like once you learn like the point, like it's easy transition from jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
to watch the point system. Takedowns and stuff are like a little, like we'd be like, that's a takedown. And in wrestling, you're like, not yet.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and now I've had more exposure to it, because obviously like all the wrestling I've done has been jujitsu focused, but now we've been taking like pure wrestling classes.
Way different.
And it's way different, but I noticed the athleticism aspect of it because jiu-jitsu is very back and forth, side to side. It's kind of like a Nintendo controller.
Okay.
Whereas wrestling is like a joystick.
Oh, yeah.
Like these guys kind of go in one direction and then they'll turn a corner, go the other direction, and they're moving in these different spirals. And it's complete.
Well, in jiu-jitsu, the setup for takedown, there's really no like, it's like, hey, shoot a single.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but there's no like real setup to it. It's like, I'll just shoot a single. Yeah. And you may set it up just because that's what you think you're doing. Yeah. But like, there's no.
And you're wrestling, you might be standing up with a guy that wants to pull guard.
Right. Then you got to chase him down.
Yep.
Which happens to me a lot because you guys know I like to be on the feet. So like I end up chasing people around the mat trying to like, hey, come on. Like, let's do something.
Yeah, it's funny. But now in wrestling, you got two guys that know what's up.
Right.
So
and they can't, they're stuck.
Yep. Yeah, and nobody's going to pull guard in wrestling.
No, and you'll get called for stalling. Like, that's a huge thing.
And the matches are, 3 minutes?
Yeah, so depending on the level, like JV is 3 1-minute periods. Depending on the tournament or whatever, usually like 1.5-minute periods.
So you got to make something happen.
Yeah, or 2-minute periods at the, at the higher levels that you go up.
Yeah, wrestling. That's one sport I wish I would have done.
And I love seeing.
It just wasn't in my school. I wish.
I was in Puerto Rico. We didn't have that.
It was
funny
big.
enough.
It was big in Kansas.
Yeah, you're in the country over there in Kansas.
100% Kansas was probably.
Yeah, and we have a friend, Tori, that lives in Missouri. Is that right?
Yeah, she's in Missouri. She's an
and
Army vet too. She was a drill sergeant. Hilarious because she's tiny and she tells her drill sergeant stories, and I'm like, I could not.
No.
I mean, she's
very
tiny.
good at projecting her voice.
I'm sure.
But her daughter, her oldest daughter, is killing it in wrestling.
Yeah, girls wrestling.
I think it's taken off. I think it's like the biggest, largest growing sport.
I have to say, like, if Janie and I have kids, wrestling is boy or girl. I'm like, we're doing this.
I talk to, because people talk to me, like, because they know I do jiu-jitsu, and then they know the boys wrestle. And they're like, oh, why'd you start them with jiu-jitsu first? I'm like, I didn't really, that's just what we did.
Yeah.
What I tell people, I go, yeah, it kind of depends on your kid. If you have a kid that's like, jiu-jitsu, even for adults, can be like very, and then like you put your hand here, put your foot this way, turn your hip this way, and then they're instructing you and you're off in la la land. And like, even as an adult, you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then you mess it up, right? And it takes a lot of patience and focus to kind of learn moves and learn jiu-jitsu. Whereas wrestling, when especially good coaches, you just start them off. It's like, all right, just get them on the ground. Yeah. Just play it, because it's kind of natural for kids to wrestle anyways.
Right.
So like they just kind of build off that. So if you have a kid that's having a hard time sitting still, and like maybe isn't like super focused, and you're yelling at him because he's like not paying attention to what the coach is saying, hey, wrestling is probably a better option. But if you have a kid that's like very like patient, methodical, like Maverick is very like dialed in. Like I just got lucky because Maverick is like that kind of kid. He wants to pay attention. He wants to do well. Mm-hmm. He's like, same with McLean. McLean's like dialed. He's like, yeah, like, okay, how do we do this? Mm-hmm. And like McLean's like, all right, I got it one time. Maverick might have to look at it a couple times, but like they're just naturally more those kind of kids. Mm-hmm. As opposed to like, I have friends that try to get their kid in jiu-jitsu, and the kid's, all over the place, and it's like, dude, get a hold of this kid or something like that.
Yeah.
In the day and age of ADHD and excessive screen time, even for the athlete kids,
right.
Kids are like pre-diabetic and they're getting overweight younger and younger, even though they're the athletes, right?
Right.
That to jump in a sport like wrestling is.
Yeah. And what's also awesome about wrestling and jiu-jitsu is I get to do it with the kids.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's not as often as it used to be, just because they're getting older and they're doing their own thing. But like, it's great. Like Mav, both of you guys have rolled with Mav.
Yeah, I loved it when you brought him.
McLean, it's fun. It's great. It's like playtime, and it's fun. It's something we can do together. It's something. It's a game. So it's fun. And that kind of goes like even like back to like all the outdoor stuff, all the even like lifting weights. They see, what I eat.
Mm-hmm.
We don't keep a bunch of. I mean, we have snacks and stuff in the house, but we eat a lot of meat.
Yeah,
they eat a lot. They're, both kids are very lean.
Plus, if you're doing the hunting, they see the value in.
Correct.
Like it's more than just if they're eating venison, it's not just like, oh, I'm eating this venison. It's like there's a whole backstory to like I did this. And
absolutely.
I'm nourished. I'm providing for myself.
Maverick knows how to process it.
Oh,
too,
big time.
Yeah.
Well, McLean does too. Maverick's just like a lot
super
more
efficient.
methodical.
I mean, so there's a different relationship with food there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like it's nice because when we like McLean right now is actually cleaning the gator skull from the gator we got last weekend.
I saw a video of you, the setup of it. Yeah.
So it was fun. That was the first time he had been. So
Bro, Mav looks just like you.
I know.
I saw the picture. I was like, bro, put a beard on him. That's you.
There was somebody took a video of us walking, and I have a unique gait.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, oh no, they walk like me. But I mean, like they have I'll never. The first deer Mav shot was long week. We saw a couple, nothing really panned out. It was like the last 5 minutes of the last hunt.
Nice.
We were already late.
Mm-hmm.
I was already going to be in trouble for getting home too late because we do it up into Thanksgiving. I was like, we're going to miss Thanksgiving. I was just getting ready to be like, hey, we're going to call it.
Yeah.
And a little spike buck walks out. And I was like, Mav.
Yeah.
Deer.
Yeah.
So he's like pumped. So shoots it, but it's a bad shot. Shoots it bad. Shoots it like gut shots it.
Yeah.
Deer's suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So now, but I have to go run around, and it's not like you hear about guys like jump on it, slit the throat. Like that's not like a real thing. I'm sure somebody does that, but we don't do that. So I was like, hey, I got to shoot it again. So an important lesson, not just life, but a firearms lesson. Like, hey, these things are dangerous.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot built into that. It's not just like, hey, this is where your food comes from. It's like, hey, look, this is a bad shot.
Yeah.
And I didn't hammer him over it. It's just
educational.
Educate, like, and I didn't say it in the moment. You wait a couple days and be like, hey, listen, like, it wasn't cool seeing that animal hurt, right? And he's young. He was like 10. Yeah. So, but I was like, we shot it. This is what happens. This is where our food comes from. It's not a big deal, but this is why it's important to know what you're aiming at. Know you guys have done the shooting and stuff, and Dan being in the Army, treat every weapon like it's loaded.
Yeah.
Never point a weapon at anything you don't want to destroy. All the fundamentals, What's the last one? Know your target. What's on it? What's beside it? What's in front of it? What's behind it? That's the last step. But that's a good lesson, because it was a bad shot. And then we had to go, shoot it. But then he gets the excitement of, we're skinning the deer now. He gut shot it. So I'm like dry heaving, trying to get the guts out.
Well, because I was going to say, did that make the
no, it was
cleaning
fine,
process harder?
Oh, yeah. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm dry heaving because of just the smell. Like the guts don't bother me.
If they're intact.
But now I'm like dry heaving and we got to get out of Dodge. We need to get the hell out of Dodge because I got another 12.5-hour drive ahead of me. So we got to go. Get the tractor out, skin it, stuff like that. McLean's first deer, we didn't even get one his first year hunting. It was just, little kids moving.
Yeah.
But then super cool. He shoots 2 deer within 5 minutes of each other on his next trip. But super good. He's like a very methodical kid. He's like very, very perceptive. He's the kind of kid that sees something once and picks it up.
Nice.
He's like too confident. He's like very confident, and he'll like, start doing things that you're like, hey, that's like way above your skill level there, kid.
Yeah.
But another good lesson, man. Like just being patient, and then look, things work out. You get a couple more. We got 2 deer within 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
It was a super cool experience. Made 2 really good shots. It was.
So you think he could protect Nakatomi Plaza?
100%, 100% Nakatomi. That's his station there on New Year's Eve. But that kind of all ties in. I mean, it's all like the outdoors, health and fitness. I mean, it's all. I think it's got to all be together.
Yeah.
Because if you start missing one, and it doesn't have to be like you go on some elaborate hunting trip. Just go to the beach, hang out.
Or even fish.
Fishing.
Fishing requires patience and not as much precision as hunting, but still some.
Yeah. There's a lot there because, you're kind of packaging physical culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're working out. Then you're packaging the nutrition stuff with learning to hunt and sourcing food and processing it and that sort of thing. There's a lot of skill through that, right? Like learning to wrestle. Wrestling's hard, y'all.
Yeah.
Like you think it's 2 guys just going at it. Wrestling is hard,
exhausting.
and it's exhausting.
And it's not, the wrestling match is the easy part.
Yeah. And that's why they call it, they would embrace the grind is the motto from wrestling. Bro, wrestling is a grind, and the pace of it. And then you're looking at like the character that you build from wrestling. So it's like 2 bulls colliding, right? Because this kid's been working hard too, and you've been working hard.
It's the only sport where you can see who's truly worked the hardest.
Yep.
That's like, especially at the level where Mav is, and then where McLean's going to get to next year when he gets to high school. It's who worked the hardest, and it becomes evident. But like wrestling, all that stuff, I think it just sets them up for something that's, for later. They're going to be able to do anything that they like. Once you be like, hey, you can do this, it'll set you up for you can do anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can do whatever.
And I think that what you were saying earlier about the wrestling is like a joystick requires more movement. The body awareness from wrestling, I think, is superior.
Like the mind-muscle connection.
I mean, like a lot of the, us taking wrestling classes, we're warming up. Yeah, they're like, okay, do cartwheels. I'm like, bruh, what are you talking about? But you see the kids that wrestle, they're just almost doing front flips, you know?
Crazy.
Or
Like
the
they're
way that
crazy
they
acrobatic.
mobilize their neck, or they warm their neck up by just like doing on their head. I'm like, I would die.
Or the hips too, like the flexibility they get from like, oh, you shot a single, you think you got it, and dude's back leg is over here.
Or if you ever like do jiu-jitsu with like a good wrestler and you try to like mount them, like it's not happening.
John, you feel it. Like I think I was telling somebody earlier story. There's a white belt in our school now. He was a Division I wrestler.
Yeah. So
and it's not even like as soon as I tangled up with him, I was like, oh, different. Yeah. This is different. You know, it's not even
well, I noticed like my takedown game is not great, but I'm okay with a single leg. But then there's a few guys, there's another blue belt who was a wrestler who I'll kind of like set up, and I'm like, just the way I see their level change, like when I'm
different.
I'm like, pull
danger, pull
guard,
danger.
No, and that character, that character sticks with you. Now I'm remembering I used to train with a guy in New York that was wrestled for Rutgers.
Oh,
which is
what was it? Do you know his first name?
I don't remember. He's a black kid. I don't.
Oh, never mind. Okay, so one of good friends is was a wrestler at Rutgers.
Yeah, he wrestled he's from New York. I mean, if you didn't know, Rutgers is one of the top wrestling schools. You'd never think because you're thinking Ivy League. That was at Atlas. There was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in med school at that point, but he wrestled for Rutgers at some point. So it's a different thing, you know. Yeah. I think looking at sports for kids, there's traits that certain sports develop, like baseball players. Which is what I'm around the most now. There's a lot of detail orientation, like they're numbers guys, you know, oh, I'm throwing this. If I want to throw this, I got to do this many things. They're like accountants. You know? Being around college football when I was in collegiate, my first time ever, you know, Puerto Rico, we didn't grow up with football, but my first time ever handling a football team, 2 minutes in, I realized, I'm like, no wonder most of the guys that I was in the military with were former football players. Because it is the structure of it. It's like, hey, you're a defensive guy. This is your job. This is your job, and you do this job so that this other guy can do his job.
Which makes perfect sense in the military.
It makes perfect sense in the military. Everybody in the military played football at some point. Yeah. We talk about football all the time. And then not only that, but the coaches, I was like, you know, the head coach, he's like the battalion commander.
Yeah.
Like the same personality.
Same, right.
You'll like give some orders and leave. And but then you have
your O-line coach.
The O-line coach. And then in this school, the defensive line coach, he was like the sergeant major because he's over there.
They usually
talking about everybody's mama. Just like, what the hell are you doing? What is that? It's just, I mean, and the music is really, I was like, it's just like the Army. I came home, Janie was like, I know now, football, military. Same.
You came home amped up too.
Oh, it was, because it was like we had the music really loud. That gym was in a basement underneath the hockey arena, and there's speakers in the ceiling, right? And so the music was turned up to the max.
Just getting after it.
And there's literally 100 kids in the weight room, and they're lifting big ass weights too. And you know,
that's got to be such a cool atmosphere.
Oh my God. I was like, I got as soon as we started, I was like getting goosebumps.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, I love my job.
You're like, I've arrived.
It's like, this is what I'm meant to do.
That's
like,
cool,
you know,
man.
I was wayward a little bit after the military, but this is what I'm meant to do. And just seeing it, and it felt like the Army. You got the defensive coach over there, like he's talking about everybody's mom and telling them how weak they are, and then this other guy's being positive. So it was a thing, but you start seeing what certain sports bring. So what I'm getting at long ways is, you know, if you're going to put your kids in sports, think about what you want them to take away from that, right? Mm-hmm. You know,
and I think about it a couple different ways. Like sports for me growing up, because like I said, I grew up kind of rough, was like an escape. Yeah. It was kind of like a little bit different, I think, than probably what my kids see sports as. Mm-hmm. You know, I put them in this to struggle a little bit, but for me, it was kind of like it was just a game. It was and that's anything, any wrestling, football, baseball, whatever it is. You know, it's just, you know, you're there, and that's what you're doing, and you can. It's beneficial as an escape, and it's beneficial as that simulated stress or whatever, you know. And it's just, you know, sports, I think, are super huge for kids, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think you've done a great job of, you know, the reasons why you got into sports and everything, but then realizing that your kids needed that too and setting the example for
Right.
them.
Yeah.
So I think it's been.
And I think I just kind of over time have always just kind of gravitated to doing physical things. And like, you know, obviously now there's a ton of, you know, they came out with that study that physical activities like 100 times better than like any SSRI,
Yes.
you know, for mental
Yes.
health.
Yes.
And I think I've always kind
Yeah.
of, I've always kind of gravitated towards that. And I think I've always kind of like had the intuition that that's the way, you know. And then you mentioned it earlier, like, you know, it closes that stress loop.
Yep.
Like I had no idea, but like you do these kind of things and like you try to give advice to certain people in your life and you're like, hey, like maybe a little bit of physical activity would do you well. And it's like, nah, I can't do it because of my back.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, my back hurts too, man. My knees
Yeah.
hurt. You know, I got
It's a how. It's finding a
Yeah,
how. How do there's a principle that applies to everybody. It's how you implement it versus
Right.
Yeah.
looking for the
I mean,
for the way
and it
out.
goes into like, I wish everyone would be more curious instead of being like, hey, you know, physical activity would help you. Not, I can't do it, but like you said,
How?
well, how do I do
Yeah,
it?
how do I do it?
Yeah.
The question is,
Instead
And then
of
whether
being-
it's
yeah.
running, whatever it is, you know, just something.
Yeah.
You know, for most people, I think like the general population, even like law enforcement, it's just like do something because most of guys, you know, they can make it through the academy and like that's like the last time they do
Yeah, you
any
see that
physical
with
activity.
Firefighters too, and I worked EMT for a little bit before PA school, and it's a liability if you have a partner who's
Goodness,
out
I
of
couldn't
shape.
even imagine. Yeah.
Especially, it was in the Northeast, and we had to carry patients out of the third floor of a townhome with a chair lift, and if that my partner's weak, that's all
Now
on
it's
me.
on you. Yeah.
I gotta say that I've never understood because I obviously connected with physical culture. Like
Right.
as soon as I decided to join the military, I tell people that you know I was running one morning and I was like, I will never not do this.
Right.
That feeling hit me. So working out to me was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna work out.
Yeah.
But I don't understand when people join tactical jobs, EMT, firefighting, police, army,
Right.
and they don't. Your body is your main tool, right? So you have to take care of it.
Absolutely.
That is something, and you have to like develop some sort of capability to actually do this
it's
job
wild.
well.
I mean, you kind of get the guys. It kind of goes back to like where I say there's two forks in the road where like all you guys have met most of my friends. The majority of them that I work with are all in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Everybody works out, exercises, is you know, on top of their game or trying to do the best that they can. You know, but then you have the other guys that don't, you know, and then it's hard. I mean, being a detective, I'm a street crimes detective and I'm on call. So like I have a full-time job, but unless I turn my phone off, like I guarantee when we're done here, I'm going to have like 9,000 messages just from my regular job. On top of it, I'm on a SWAT team, which is like a whole nother full-time job because we've got not just warrant, we've got barricades, special events, all these like things. Then on top of that, you know, put in being a dad, put in being a husband, like, and you gotta find time for all that stuff. But I mean, if I can find time, you can find time.
Yeah. I think one thing you did that we haven't mentioned is you have a home gym.
Yes. Oh
And
man.
it wasn't something that you put a bunch of money into and had it complete. Like you've slowly built a home gym.
That was something big I learned in COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
100%.
But you don't have a lot of time, and even if there's a gym 15 minutes away, hey, that's 15 minutes there and back. That's 30 minutes I don't have.
Right.
Right.
And not only that, at that point, your kids get to see you get after it.
Absolutely. Like it. So I was always liked being in the gym. I just loved being in the gym. Now that I have one at home, it's the last, I want to say, I probably had it for maybe like 2 years now. Game changer. Because it was, again, I was getting to that point where I was starting to get out of shape. I was a little fluffy in the midsection. I'm starting to, you know, now I'm just doing a bunch of jiu-jitsu too, which is not great. It is great, but it's not great at the same time. But like, you know, work, family, sports, all this stuff, being able to just get up 30 minutes early, and it's a true 30 minutes early, and then get a 30-minute workout in as opposed to getting up an hour and a half early, going to the gym, working out, coming back, showering. I just got it all right there. It's at my house.
No, I think
it's
that's
ready
great.
to.
I encourage a lot of people who don't have time, invest in a home gym.
Yeah, I started with a
In some
kettlebell,
capacity. Yeah.
and then we put in a pull-up bar, which morphed into a rock wall. which morphed into a squat rack,
Yeah.
which morphed into now it's like a like a strongman gym back there. It's like
Yeah.
Rocky,
Tires and stuff,
tires.
yeah.
It's
I
like
love it.
it's like a Rocky 4 gym back there. I got no grass because we just drag tires back and forth. It's like if you
Now
want,
you don't have to mow.
yeah. If you're looking for landscaping, don't
I
do
think,
that.
yeah, you're including your kids in that too, because
Yeah.
even if they're not working out with you, they get to peek
They
out
see
the
it.
window and be like, man, dad's out there doing some stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
they're-
Absolutely.
Okay, bringing all of this home, this 2-part episode that we discussed a lot. We talked
I
about
think
a
this is
lot.
great because I don't think a lot of people get to hear. Well, a lot of police officers don't share their personal lives, right? Just because
Right.
you just don't. And a lot of people in the military don't talk about a lot of stuff because I don't know if they don't think people want to hear it, or unless they're like some well-known special force or something like that. But I think you posted something recently of like just like main infantry guy, and then there's all these other
Yeah.
people. Yeah. So I like to hear just like there's a lot of people who, especially during the 9/11 time period, who joined the military and maybe they didn't reach the top tier Delta, whatever, but there's still a lot that happened.
There's
So-
I
Absolutely.
think the transition aspect is something to highlight here because you had something in mind that you wanted to do after.
Right. I had a support structure too.
Yep.
I mean, with my wife, I can't say enough. Without having that support, like it kind of all falls apart.
Right.
Also, I had I think about my family like the way that I would think about, not in the same way, but a similar path. Like guys are relying on me. My family is relying on me. So I
Yes.
need to square myself away and square away, our life so we can, thrive.
Yeah.
You also mentioned a lot of sacrifice there when you were taking 4-day passes to go see
Oh,
your
yeah.
wife. So a lot of that stuff, like you're building that relationship up to be really sturdy, where some guys could just kind of sit back and be like, we're married, so I expect you to be there for me type
Right.
of thing, which then leads to you're deployed and your wife is doing whatever with your money and the relationship falls apart.
We've
right?
all heard those stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Horror
All
stories.
the guys that end up going crazy down rage
Right.
because they saw something on Facebook or what,
Right.
or they look at their bank account
Or they
and
come
it's
home to an empty apartment.
I've
Yeah.
heard those too. Empty,
yeah.
like come back home to an empty apartment and
No-
where's my
no
wife?
money
And
in the
like,
bank account.
No
Yep.
money. Heard all of those stories. I've seen them firsthand.
Same.
So it is, you did a lot. You went out of your way to keep that relationship healthy, which then leads to, 18 years married and
Yeah.
2 kids,
Right.
So that you said we talked about completing the stress cycle too that you did subconsciously. Like you go on mission, high stress, come in, do a workout. It just closes that loop, moving and kind of shaking it all out. It's similar to what they always talk about. Deer gets chased by a freaking lion. He gets away, and then they start doing the shaking thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Same thing. Talked about being outdoors and the what kind of like peace and stability that brought
Yeah,
you
because
mentally and
especially
emotionally.
being a law enforcement officer, even like military guys, you're switched on all the time.
Yeah.
And I cannot relax in a city environment. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, you're programmed to be on alert in a city.
Right, which is fine. And this kind of goes back to the mental health thing. I've chosen this path, so I know it's a normal response, so it doesn't bother me. But you need a break. You gotta carve out. So the gym is a good break. I love jiu-jitsu. I didn't do jiu-jitsu because I want to learn how to fight. And as being a cop, I do jiu-jitsu so I can hang out with like regular people, and I can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like the biggest thing. And I like, there's a bunch of guys that are like, I call them like the cop nerd gyms. I can't train with those guys because all they want to do is talk about cop stuff. And I'm like, I want to,
Yeah.
I've heard other like former police officers that have podcasts talk about that, like that said of, hey, you got to have a thing where you put the cop thing away, and military guys too.
Yeah.
And you talk about like regular stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just hanging out with you guys, all the other guys from the gym, Christian, Ari, like, it's all, we've all made these relationship with these people that I've known for years. And it's nice to be able to, and I don't mind talking about stuff with you guys because you guys are my friends.
Yeah.
So, and we spend a lot of time together, which is cool. It's just one of those things where you're like, we got to turn this off at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So you have that You have skill-based hobbies. You learn to hunt,
Right.
and to fish, and to do all these things that, like you're putting effort into learning
You have
new
to.
things, which distracts, and it gives you, you're sharpening a blade, right?
Yeah.
And that's what gives you a sense.
There's no free lunch, man. There
Yeah.
really isn't.
No.
There's no free lunch. You have to put the work in. But the work is what, not to sound cliche, but the work is what makes it worth it.
The
Yeah.
work is the reward.
Yeah, the work
Yeah.
is the reward with all these things. And, just one thing I'd like to touch on as far as like law enforcement goes too, you have to have that support system. You got to surround yourself with good people at work. Because if you don't surround yourself with good people at work, you're going to fall into those naysayers and those
energy vampires.
Yeah,
and
those do nothings. Like, you got to be with the crew. If you got to, like, not everybody's going to get along with everybody. I totally get it, but you have to you have to build that community, and it's got to be with people that want to do healthy things. It can't be like, we all listen. Law enforcement, especially my generation, law enforcement, big culture of like drinking and stuff like that, and which is all good and fine, but we also like to do, like my group of friends, we like to do other things. We all of us are into working out. Got buddy Bojo, he runs these freaking ultra marathons. He's and he's like he does like these 100-mile races and stuff. He goes hiking. He's into the outdoors that way. Another good buddy of mine, Ryan, he's got a boat, and he's but super big into fitness, hot yoga, the whole 9 yards. My buddy, like everybody, he's got his own family. Everybody's got their own thing that they're into, but it's all super healthy, and we're all kind of together, and we're all in each other's lives, and it makes doing the job way easier.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to take away there, because it's not like health is it's a big picture, literally.
Yeah.
And there's, who you're hanging out with, things that you're doing that are not related.
It's
to
not
your
just
job.
calories in, calories
It's not
out, reps and
calories
sets.
in, calories out. Let me get
Right.
sweaty, or let me just look as good as I can.
Right.
There's like having a performance aspect, then using your fitness for something else that builds you up. I think there's a lot there that people can take away from this.
Yeah.
Man, that was solid.
Yeah.
That was a really good conversation.
Hopefully I didn't ramble too much.
No,
I
it was
great.
I go off on tangents
No,
sometimes.
we really appreciate you sharing,
Yeah.
man. That's really good. I think, I feel like a lot of people are going to derive a lot of value from this, for sure. How to manage, chaos and turn it into peace and stability. Isn't that your handle too?
Yeah, chaos harmonize.
You see? I mean, it goes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so guys, if you want to, follow Mike, or if you have any questions for him, he's Chaos Harmonized.
That's
on
me.
Instagram.
Yeah.
That is, which is perfect, because that's really what life is, right? It's a bunch of, what are you gonna, chaotic. You can't predict a bunch of things, but you got to manage chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. So man, we really appreciate.
No, I
you
really
coming
appreciate this. Is
Yeah,
cool. Thank you guys
Yeah.
for letting me babble on.
Yeah.
So
All right. Thanks
Guys,
for joining us.
Yeah, I hope you derive value from this. Till the next one, you know what I want you to do. Stay farming free. Thanks for listening to the PharmaPhobic podcast. If you found this conversation interesting, which I know you did, make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to check us out on Instagram @Achieve the Lifestyle. And if you're interested in pursuing a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself, check out our website @achievethelifestyle.com.
The PharmaPhobic podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical or wellness decisions. While we discuss pharmaceutical, holistic, and alternative health topics, our content is not a substitute for professional medical guidance.